What's going on, everybody? Hope you're having an absolutely awesome day today. And today I want to talk about the current state of Battlefield 2042. Now, it's no secret that the game has been losing players at quite a rapid pace, and it's got many fundamental issues that just don't align with some of the previous Battlefield games. And I want to talk about them here in this video today to talk about how we can improve Battlefield 2042 and bring it back in line with the Battlefield franchise and make a Battlefield game that everybody wants to play. But just before we get into the meat of this video, if you're new here and you're not subscribed, go ahead, hit that subscribe button and enable all notifications. Also, drop me a like down below and actually leave me a comment in the comment section. Tell me what you guys currently think of the state of Battlefield 2042. I want to know all your opinions. I want to know your good points, your bad points, and I want to know whether or not you're enjoying this game or you're currently playing something else. So let me know down in the comment section. That would be awesome. So let's get straight into it. Now, Battlefield 2042 has a lot of fundamental problems, and I think that's the reason many players are deciding to leave the game and play something else. And I think it's safe to say that Battlefield 2042's launch has been the roughest that a Battlefield game has ever seen. We've also seen a ton of negative reviews from players and critics alike. And I think it's safe to say as well that Battlefield 2042 did not live up to the hype generated by its marketing and its trailer, and ultimately had many players disappointed. Right from the get-go, we've seen a massive amount of bugs, gameplay issues, netcode problems, and fundamental design flaws. It feels like Battlefield 2042 doesn't really know what kind of game it wants to be. Right from the get-go, Battlefield 2042 was marketed as this revolutionary next-generation title that would really put a lot of emphasis on the 128-player large-scale all-out warfare that was set to revolutionize the multiplayer FPS genre. And this is where I believe one of Battlefield 2042's main issues lies. 128 players, in theory, sounds like a really good idea, but it turns out in practice, it's nothing like we was expecting. As it turns out, 128 players really has quite a negative effect on both the gunplay, the map design, and the way that the game flows in general. If you've played other Battlefield titles, you'll know that the maximum player count on all of them was 64 players, 32 versus 32. All of the maps were designed around this, adding certain choke points and certain areas that allowed the gameplay to flow very well. Even in Battlefield 2042, I feel that the maps, even now, are way too big and just lacking a lot of areas for cover, a lot of areas for interesting points of gameplay. And this was proved with the rush game mode that was added to the Portal. This game mode was knocked up very fast. It's the classic 64-player experience. The maps were made just a little bit smaller, and with that, the gameplay flowed so much better. There was also a load of benefits that came with that, such as FPS boost. We all know that performance in this game for PC is absolutely atrocious. Again, I believe this is tied to the 128 player count, the massive maps, even things like the networking. I wasn't rubber banding as much. The hit reg seemed a lot more on point. And I feel that the only way for Battlefield to really succeed right now is for someone to step in and make a very big change in the way that the game plays and drop this whole 128 players massive all-out scale warfare that they was trying to go for. Another really important factor in making Battlefield 2042 a much better game comes down to the game modes as well. On launch, players were only given 3 options to choose from, that being Conquest 128 player, Hazard Zone, or Breakthrough 128 player. Now, of course, there are other game modes through the Battlefield portal and through the server browser through community-made servers, but what this game lacks is the amount of officially supported game modes from DICE. Things like Team Deathmatch, Domination, Airborne, Squad Conquest are just some of the game modes that come to mind that could be officially put in rotation to give the game a little bit more variety and to allow those players who don't want to jump in to the massive 128 player game modes a better experience. And speaking of a better experience, there are many things missing from this game that we've seen in previous Battlefield titles. Things like the number of UI customizations. In previous Battlefield titles, you could scale the UI, you could change colors of a lot more things. You could even change the opacity for objective markers. Of course, we're also missing proper map rotation because the number of maps in the base game is extremely low. And my thoughts on that is because they've spent all this time putting tons of effort into these massive 128 player maps is one of the reasons that we don't see a lot of maps in this game. The balance between infantry and vehicles is absolutely just atrocious right now. You guys probably remember the extremely overpowered hovercraft, which has been nerfed a little, and there are still tons of vehicles that are extremely overpowered. In terms of playing with friends and your team, the game lacks the feature of talking to your teammates, which is really strange considering Battlefield 2042 was originally designed to be this really big team-centric first-person shooter. Things like clans and platoons that we've seen in previous games are also missing, as well as a whole bunch of other customization things such as the class system and many character customization options. We've also got a ton of issues with scoring, squad wipes, player damage points, headshot bonuses, multi-kill bonuses. All of these things are non-existent in this game, which makes the experience feel extremely stale. Combine this with the lack of weapons and the lack of weapon customization means that Battlefield 2042 just doesn't really stand out or makes itself more appealing than its competitors. There's an old saying that goes, if it isn't broke, don't fix it. And I feel that a lot of developers nowadays really just try and innovate on things that don't need to be innovated on. Battlefield 2042 just completely changed up that core formula that we all know and love and expect from a Battlefield game. And as you can imagine, these are just a few of the issues right now that are making Battlefield 2042 a less enjoyable experience than it could be. I could go ahead and rattle off a bunch of different things off the top of my head, but I don't want this video to take too long. I really just wanted to get down to some of the core reasons why I feel this game is not as good as it could be. It's going to be interesting to see where DICE and EA take Battlefield 2042 in the coming months with new patches and game updates. I can imagine right now with all the negative reviews that there is a massive operation internally to really try and pull this game out of the weeds. There's a lot of missing features right now that I've seen from very trusted leakers that also state that the game needed another year of development. So it's going to be interesting to see just how much content and updates we're going to get to this game within a few months. Fingers crossed that it really improves, as the Battlefield franchise is really one of my favorite when it comes to FPS games. When done right, there is no other game that can create the atmosphere and the multiplayer sandbox environment that Battlefield manages to pull off. But that's going to be it for this video, guys. If you enjoyed it, please give me a like down below. Also, if you're not subscribed, go ahead, hit that subscribe button. We're going to be covering Battlefield 2042 a lot in the near future. Also, please leave me a comment down below. Tell me if you think I've missed anything. Tell me what your current views on Battlefield 2042 are, and if you're still having fun with the game. So thank you very much for watching. Have an awesome day, and I shall catch you in the next one.